Welcome back, everybody. It's episode 168 of the Lookout Podcast. I am Meelz. I'm here with LJ.
Yo, we're back.
We're back. We're back for more Fullmetal Alchemist. For more. Do you have your automail set up? If you had an automail part, what would it be? Like if you replace one of your
It'll be an arm for sure.
both arms or just one arm?
Nah, one arm. Both arms is too. Like one arm is cool. It's like damn. Like why'd you lose your arm? Losing both arms, you're like damn. You got fucked up.
Who has it's someone in the superhero universe who has two metal arms.
There's
actually a couple right now. I think about it.
Yeah, Jack's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Hold on. Actually, let me look at it for our. This might be good. Might be for our 88 brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Is it Striker? Who is Striker? Let's see. Mega Man, of course. Who could forget? Let's see. What's his name? He's black. I forget.
How about Cable? No, not Cable. Bishop?
I don't know. He used to
hang out with,
he might be in Teen Titans.
Yeah, Cyborg.
Okay, all right.
Now I gotta see a Bishop. I'm like, this Bishop doesn't have
someone in I feel like someone in Mortal Kombat has metal arms too.
No, yeah, Bishop doesn't have metal arms. Shout out to Bishop though, he's cold.
Oh yeah. Hold on, Jax. There you go.
Yeah, Jax Mortal Kombat. Right? Yeah,
there you go. Look at that. History. We're doing the work. We're recognizing.
Why are they giving black man metal arms?
This is a version of representation in a way. Maybe this anime is representation in a way.
Could be.
Maybe. All right. So, how have you been? Have you been watching anything? Have you been reading anything? Are you excited about anything?
I actually went to the comic book store yesterday. I got 2 volumes of the Darwin Incident, which is amazing.
What's that about?
It's about it's about this human Z. So it's the first ever like half human, half chimpanzee hybrid human that was created in this lab. And like you have these radical environmental terrorists or animal liberation terrorists, and they're the ones that technically saved him. And he's like the child of this like genius chimpanzee and this biologist that embedded his DNA in her. So it's a bunch of like.
It sounds like a Futurama episode.
Yeah. Imagine it's very Planet of the Apes-esque, which I love the Planet of the Apes. It's like, it deals with a lot of like, he's a human, but he's a chimpanzee. He goes to school, and it's just a bunch of crazy stuff happens, and it's really cool. I can't. It's hard to explain it all without giving it all away, but it's much more serious. I'll say this: it's much more serious than you think. Like it sounds goofy in terms of explaining the concept, but it's very. It's very serious in terms of.
I'll put in post production. I'll put serious music under it to make it sound more serious. You made it sound like a great time. Like he's going to school. It's like, what is this? Like,
No, because it's like, man, you got
girls, sorority houses, something.
He got
a monkey.
That's he's just a monkey trying to figure it out, man.
Trying to figure
out this thing we call life. But no, it like you like the they're called the Animal Liberation Alliance, but like they're like real life terrorists. Like they're blowing up restaurants and people are dying and kids are dying. They're trying to get the human Z to be on their side because he's stronger than a chimp but smarter than a human, and he's just trying to figure out life. But like even him as a character, he's like really so. One thing in like that, especially the first volume, they talk about he's a vegan, and so like kids come up to him and be like, are you in alliance with these animal liberation people because you're a vegan? Da da da. And he's just like, and one of the kids are trying to bully him, ask him like, so if a rat was to come up to you and it had a disease and you had the choice of killing the rat or saving yourself, like what do you do? And he's like, I'll kill the rat. And then, so they're like, oh, see, so you're contradicting yourself. And then he pauses and goes, but if you had the disease too, I'd kill you also. Like he's essentially like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna choose to live than to die. Then it goes deep. It's really good though, and the art style is really good. Like I said, it's real Planet of the Apes-esque in terms of like they ain't fucking around.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, sounds good. Yeah, I haven't started to watch anything else before Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, I haven't watched really anything else. To also grabbed the second omnibus of Gundam, the origin story. Okay. So that's fun.
Okay. All right.
But watching wise, Fullmetal Alchemist has my full attention right now.
As it should, because we're delivering this to great people. I'll be honest with you, rewatching this, I felt like it was more complicated than it was before, but it's actually not. Like the show's pretty straightforward for the most part right now. It's just a great story that's kind of like going on as we speak. But yeah, I was like, okay, I literally watch every episode that we're supposed to watch for this, which is episode 11 through 20. So if you have not watched 11 through 20, you can pause this right now and watch 11 through 20. Actually, no, fuck that. Listen to us. Then you watch 11 through 20. And then I would assume next episode also watch another 10 episodes. Don't quote me on that, but just do it. But yeah, this has been a great, man. This has just been a great watch. I love it. Demon Slayer back at number 1 in the box office. Of course,
they're gonna eat forever.
It's just until it's over.
Yeah, and then when it's over, I feel that I think that's when we're gonna get the. You think we get a prequel or a sequel?
No, because apparently, like, the creator of it has gotten no money from all this money that they're making. So if I was the creator, I would be like, unless you pay me all the extra money I should have got from the movies, and then you pay me a lot to produce this movie, I'm not doing shit. Fuck yeah.
I mean, that's not I'm not surprised though. That's not out the norm for that type of stuff to happen. So
yeah, I'm not making more.
It's fucked up,
making more money than me.
it's fucked up. I'm like, there are very few, I feel, just authors in general. I'm talking not even just comics or books. I feel there's very few authors in general that really get to eat off of their work being adapted into movies and things like that.
Yeah, the creators don't even really get to eat like that, to be honest with you. Even the people who are part of the filming, like the voice actors and all this other stuff like that, animators, etc., they don't really get to eat. It's the studios that really get to eat. So it's like, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll create a studio, we'll create you an anime, and that'll help you increase the sale of the mangas, and of course you get a portion of the manga sales. But in terms of the actual film itself, we're going to do all of this, and we're going to create this, and we're going to give it big, we're going to have this big, massive thing, and then it's also going to be on Crunchyroll, so people who subscribe to Crunchyroll will also be able to view it at that time, and then you're looking as a creator, and you're like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's the thing, though, too, is that, I mean, that's a big reason why there's been such a Sakamoto Days delay, for the simple fact that animes are created to boost manga sales. It's not like the other way around where it's like, oh, the manga's popping, now let's make the anime. It's more so just like, it's, so the main goal is to boost the manga sales anyways. And that's the reason why Sakamoto Days have been like so slow to do it, because they're like, the manga sales are amazing, like we're doing great, we're doing excellent. They're like, there really is no big reason for us to like rush into this anime shit, because
I mean, I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's, I guess, yeah, it creates the demand for it, but then also we're kind of like oversaturated with anime at this point, so like who has
for sure.
In terms of just like not just not just oversaturated by the big ones, but just like by volume of it in general. There's about
I mean, there's shit that's coming. Yeah, there's. I just remembered that. I mean, My Hero comes back in what, a month?
It comes back. It technically the new part, so it's going to start the first 4 weeks as a recap of the previous arcs, and then it's going to start rolling out. My guess is to continue animating things and also shorten the season. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a short season, like, because the show isn't over yet. Usually My Hero things are 20, 25, 24 episode seasons. I'm pretty sure we're going to get those 4 episodes, which are recap episodes, and then we're going to get like 8. Maybe more. Maybe like 9 or 10. Actually, maybe the first 8 more after that. So that's what I'm imagining that we get.
How upset would you be?
I'm not.
If they go off script.
Oh, if they went off script, I doubt it. I feel like the major backlash that they got was because they went off script, and they didn't even go that off script. They just changed arcs around it. Everyone was like, "Fuck this! They're fucking with the source material. They're messing everything up. Oh, god damn it!" So yeah, I don't think they're doing that again. Also, there's not much there's not wiggle room. There's not enough wiggle room for interpretation with the source material. It's pretty. We're in the end game of the shit. I don't know if have you been keeping up with the manga at all?
I'm behind. I've been reading. I've been reading very leisurely. I'll just say that I'm behind right now. Okay,
we're pretty much. If I had to guess, the manga's ending within the next 2 months. Like,
wow,
we're pretty much.
I guess
wrapping this thing up. Don't take your time. But we're pretty much like in the we know what the final thing. We know what the final goal is. It's Deku and Shigaraki. I don't even know why. I don't think I have to explain it to anybody. We're there. Deku has figured out a way how to stop him. We're now implementing that way, and then I'm assuming it ends after that. So we're pretty much in the end game of that. So
my prediction of them teaming up it's not looking likely. Somebody got to die.
I would say I'm not going to spoil it.
Give me a percentage. Give me a percentage.
Your percentage is, I don't want to say it because we haven't reached like the full end yet. I could still see if there's an opportunity to do so, but I highly doubt it at this point.
Okay, so it's not likely.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, that's all I need to know. I just wanted to know if he was going to go there. If it's not looking like it, that's cool.
You were like, all right, I'm just not gonna read it.
No, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna still read it for sure. I mean, listen, I've invested a lot of time into My Hero. I'm gonna finish this shit.
I am looking forward to Blue Box when it comes out. I'm like, okay, I need this. I need this in my life.
Yeah, we need to change the pace. We need some gear shift.
So we can talk about it and stuff. And we can put ourselves in this situation. What would we do if we were 16-year-old kids?
I'm crashing out. 16-year-old me just did not make good decisions at all. Right. But whatever the worst decision possible is, I would probably make something in that realm. I'm probably not that exact decision, but somewhere very close within. A 16-year-old me made very bad decisions.
I look forward to doing that, and I look forward to talking about it and recanting our experiences in life.
I did watch Ninja Kamui. Kamui. There you go.
I didn't watch it.
I watched it. It was only 2 episodes.
It's only 2 episodes.
Yeah, they just started. It's not like.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was about to say. I was like, it's only 2 episodes, and why the hell people been telling me watch this shit?
No, it's only 2 episodes have dropped.
So far.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. And I don't even know what the release dates are. So today by the time y'all hear this, could be 3 out, or I could have just watched the most recent one and not even known. Hey. Who knows? But no, of the 2 episodes I did watch, it was really good. Super violent.
Wow. Okay.
Definitely, it's big John Wick vibes.
Okay. All right. I'm down.
Yeah, big ninja Wick vibes.
can I keep it real with you? I watched the first episode of Solo Leveling when it came out, and then I
Nice.
was like, all right, I don't really get this right now. I'm gonna come back to this later.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, it was a really good first episode, and I think it's okay for it to be really good. Not
I thought it was okay first episode. I wasn't like I've seen first episodes that are like, wow. I'm never.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it's not. I wouldn't put it in that realm. I would say it was really good. It was. At the end of that episode, I wanted to watch more. I wanted to learn more. The ending was really good to me of that episode. Like, I was, oh shit, like, okay.
I think I'm gonna let new anime sit for 5 episodes and then watch the first 5 episodes, because I don't think, unless I know that it's fire from reading the manga, because like a first episode just being like, okay, like I get that it builds up, and sometimes things just build up, and the first episode isn't the best episode, but like I was like, okay, this seems all right, cool, I guess. Animation, same people in various archetypes of people. I was like, okay, all right. But I'm gonna watch it. And there's a couple other things I want to watch too. I didn't get back to Classroom of the Elite yet.
How far are you in it?
I didn't watch any of season 3 yet.
You know what I'm saying? Did you watch the first 2 seasons?
Yeah.
How'd you feel? We never talked about how you felt about the first 2 seasons.
I know, because we had Cyrus on. Shit, I kind of forgot how I felt about it. It's been a long time. I remember I did like watching it from week to week. Well, not week to week. I remember I liked sitting down and binging it. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I think I have to rewatch it because I kind of forgot what happened.
They went to the island.
I remember that part, and they were like, "Who stole this girl? Was it panties or what? What was it?
It's backpack."
There. Oh, sorry. What was I talking about?
No, but there was a panty stealing situation also. I think though, like, but the backpack was the main. Like, can't find her bag when they're in the forest.
Yeah, and it was. I felt like it was. All right. I felt like it was majorly. Yes, someone was like, "Get the fuck out of my way."
Yeah, they were not happy.
New York. But I kind of actually. Let me revisit it.
Yeah, we can revisit it. I mean, if you don't remember, it's okay. I mean, honestly, I love it very much, and so if you listen, when I asked the question, you didn't immediately go, eh. And so I'm very happy about that.
I don't remember hating it at all. I don't remember hating it at all. In fact, I was like, okay. By the end of it, I was like, okay, I kind of want to watch season 3. So I didn't hate it at all. But
it's just you gotta remember.
Yeah, I gotta remember things that happened because
I watched the first episode of season 4, but then obviously we were getting
back season 3, right?
I thought, or this season is season 3. Was it season 4?
Season 3.
Season 3. Oh yeah, I'm tripping.
I was like, I'm tripping. Shit.
Hold on. Let me do my Googles real quick. Yeah, you're right. Season 3. Damn, we're already 8 episodes in. I watched the first episode and then I was like, oh, we gotta, we're about to get on our full metal. So I had
in Jujutsu Kaisen. So
yeah, we had our Jujutsu Kaisen.
Man.
So, yeah, listen.
Shout out to the people listening to this. We stop
everything we're doing for y'all. Because we love y'all
rewatch
so much.
Jujutsu Kaisen. We stopped to rewatch, and you're like, we never told you to do any of this. I understand, but our focus is here.
Our focus is for the lookouts, for the people. It's for what the people want.
So, with that said, let's head back to our focus. Talk about this Fullmetal Alchemist, because last episode we talked about the first 10 episodes of the season, which included everything of explaining alchemy, introducing characters, kind of subtly getting into the plot, and it ended with the death of Colonel Mayhew's. This great guy, he was on the force for a long time. He loved his wife, he loved his kids, very Chance the Rappery. But he's dead now because he learned too much, or he was in the process of learning too much, and the the big chick with the claws decided to
Lust.
Yes, take him out, and here we are. And it's kind of jarring from that episode 10 that we go and transition to episode 11. Episode 11 is very. If it was filler, you could have fooled me. Like,
it feels very. It does have that fillery feel to it.
Yeah, I get what the concept of this episode is, or what the theme of this episode is, um, and it has to do a lot with that birth and kind of like seeing the creation of humans naturally, as opposed and kind of like conversing it from the alchemy situation of like how things are kind of like created, and in a sense, this is like creation without necessarily destroying. Um,
Yeah.
and it explains
Also,
that
it's
pretty
nice.
well.
It was nice to have a Winry focused episode.
This is true. I mean, it's like those episodes where like Brock would take over, and it's one of the Brock episodes where he's like,
Yeah,
"Damn,
you're kind of just like, you
him
know
on
what?
breeding."
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I'm happy that you're getting a little bit of getting your little shine on.
I was, I mean, I love Panina, who has the automail knee that like will shoot you.
With the cannon in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that
Is
was
it a
fire.
blade on the other one?
I thought that was awesome. So they go to this one they go to Rush Valley. Rush Valley is known for its automail, and it's pretty much all the impressive engineering and everything like that. They go, and through certain circumstances, being pickpocketed by Panina. Um, all right.
Shout out to the other guy for standing his ground, honking back.
Hey man, how are you? Are you an angry driver? What would you say?
Nah, I'm calm.
Okay,
It's
go ahead.
really funny because
Go ahead.
no, it's really funny because when my daughter rides with me, she's always just like, "Dad, why don't you like be snapping at people when like when I'm in the car with others?" I'm just like, I don't know. She's like, "You just don't say anything. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what can I do?"
Hey man, you could do a lot of things, but I was literally getting up to close my window. My window was closed. Um, they're honking that loud, and it's penetrating through. Nonetheless, they get to this island. I mean, well, they get to this part. Um, they meet Dominic, who is this great, engineer who created a lot of automail and stuff like that. Also met his son and daughter-in-law. His daughter-in-law is pregnant. They end up having to deliver the baby. They kind of get to experience the whole um, celebration of life and all this other stuff like that. And then pretty much Edward and Al continue on their merry way, and Winry stays where the fuck she's at. And that is episode 11. I mean, again, take it or leave it.
Yeah,
They don't know. They don't know that Hughes has died yet. That's really another major thing about this. They have no clue that he has died yet, and they're giving actually multiple opportunities to learn about this, and they just people just keep avoiding the conversation with them. Um, but the following episode is one that I truly do like because it's one of my favorite characters in the series, Miss Azumi Curtis. Um, who one thing I will note about Fullmetal Alchemist, and I think one thing that I noted in my first watch of this is how strong and powerful the women characters are in this series, and how much it's a stark difference from how they were treated throughout their like the 90s, in a sense of how women characters were kind of portrayed in animes. They were always kind of like either subservient or kind of like filler or kind of very love interest, or angry or something along those lines. But there are a number of women in this series who are kick-ass, including Hawkeye, including Izumi Curtis, including someone else who we're going to meet later on down the line. And I'm truly here for it. What are your early thoughts on Miss Izumi Curtis?
um, like I'm trying to think. Early thoughts. Oh, she was just cool. Like, I like the mean teacher thing.
I think she's tough. I don't know if she's
Yeah,
mean.
I mean,
I think she's
yeah,
tough.
no, not mean. Like you said, like mean. She reminds me of Genkai.
Yeah, I would say that.
Like it's really Genkai-esque of like, I love you. This is just tough love. I love tough love characters. Like, you'll be alright.
So
You
she
know,
was right. She's their essentially. She's the one who trained them in alchemy, a long time ago.
I think your first impression of her and your last impression of her are like there. I think it grows in terms of like when you first really meet her, you're like, okay, she's this tough teacher that that these these boys actually really, although they act scared of her, they very much love and respect her fully.
Hmm.
Um, and you obviously see that. I think though, the more you learn about her, though, I think it's you figure out like, wow, like there is very much a big heart and soul there that she has. And I don't know. I like the fact that you're able to kind of crack that shell. Like they don't just keep her all hardened up and keep her with just this tough exterior where you're really able to like kind of dig in deep with their character. I think that's, once again, I think they do that a lot with, like you said, with the women characters in these, throughout this story of, they're so well rounded. Um, and and with that, it's like they're not one dimensional, or like you said, they're not kind of playing the background and that's all they are, or like you said, subservient or just a love interest. Like they play really vital roles, and especially for the male characters in there, they're like you said, they're not just uh they're not below or just beneath. Like a lot of them, like I said, they play such a major role in just in the story and for the male characters as support and also just as leaders in it. um and you see it throughout shit, even on the villain side it's kind of that same way. um so once again, she's just another one of many characters in this story, one of many like female characters in this story that hold a lot of weight, in that without that, like without her, like this story would be missing something for real.
Right.
And you'll be able to sense it.
And I think it's important that when Ed and Al eventually arrive to her place, you kind of see immediately they revere her for everything that she's done and what she's kind of like, what she represents to them. Because you see, I mean, you talk about this kind of shell being cracked. It all happens kind of in the same episode, maybe the first two episodes or so, until actually they maybe depart from the town of Resembol, which they go to after Rush Valley. But essentially, the story is when they lost their mother, they witnessed Azumi use alchemy to stop this giant flood that was going to affect the city, and they were incredibly in awe of her. They're like, "Yo, she is awesome. Could you train us in alchemy and stuff like that?" And in order to take her on as pupils, she sent them out in the woods to kind of like just train and tell them you cannot use alchemy for the 1 month you're in the woods, to kind of really show them, give them perspective on life and that like how important things are and how, just to kind of like teach them a little bit more value in their lives and where they are at kind of in the universe. So eventually she does take them on as pupils. They become as great as they essentially become. And I mean, you can tie this back into like them wanting to learn alchemy a little bit more for the events that happened in the second episode, so they can use humans transmutation to be able to do things, and it's completely forbidden. But also in this sense, she is someone who has attempted that in her own right. She had a baby, or she was having a baby. She unfortunately lost the child, and she wanted to use human transmutation to kind of like bring back that child, and it failed. And in the like with everything alchemy, there's no creation without destruction, and it took some of her inside, so she is permanently ill, and she's permanently lost the ability, not only just like she's ill, but she's lost the ability to have children just in general from experimenting with this kind of ordeal. So she's been through a lot, and it's because of her loss of children and seeing both Ed and Al that she sees in them like, oh, okay, you guys lost your parents, I lost my child. That's why she kind of has a soft spot for them. And, they uncover the secret together, or at least they relate on that fact towards the end of the episode. Um, and then it even transitions to the beginning of the next episode where she essentially expels them as students because they went through this entire thing. And that's her being like tough love, um, just being, saying like, listen, you guys did wrong and all these other things. You didn't appreciate it how you were supposed to appreciate it. So I cannot continue to accept you as students. Um, and
I like this part. Shout out to the husband too.
Shout out to the husband, Sig. Yeah,
because he's the one that really saved them.
Absolutely.
In this
he
moment,
was like, listen. He was like, she wasn't really expelling you. Like, this was kind of like a ploy. Like, this is a thing. Like, actually, you should go back. And they eventually,
because he's, I think he explained to him of just like, she sees y'all as an equal
time, like, right. Because now they're students, now they're peers.
Yeah.
So now they're able to like have conversations with her, not as like in revering of her of like, hey, like you're our teacher, like we do everything you say, but as peers, because again, you're grown up and you've also been through the same thing and made the same mistakes that she's made, and you're just strong as you made and able to make decisions, not decisions she necessarily approves of, like joining the state alchemist thing and all this other stuff like that, but nonetheless she understands that they're growing up and they're making their own decisions. Let me see what else happens in this. I mean, there's a couple of things that happen. There's a lot of plots that kind of I want to continue to like stick to the Resembul kind of like arc, because they eventually go in the they go to Dublith. Am I bugging? Yeah, they go to Dublith. Not Resembul, but Dublith, and Alphonse gets this note and says like, listen, meet us nearby, blah, blah, blah. And we get our first taste of pretty much the outward explanation of what these people are, which is a homunculus. Am I saying
homunculus?
Right? Homunculus. This is going to be tough for like weeks. And chimeras and stuff like that.
I don't know why saying that reminds you of the Rick Ross.
Huh?
Not a monkey. He's he's not a hungry. He's a monkey. Homunculus. I love Rick Ross. I still want Rick Ross is my dream guest for the Lookout.
That would be insane. He'd be like, ha ha ha.
I just want to explain things to him. I don't even want him to watch it. I just want to explain shows.
I feel gluttony. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel gluttony. You know what I'm saying? I feel him. I've ate a few people myself on wax. You know what I'm saying? But he would say it in a Rick Rossi way. Nonetheless, Alphonse gets in this situation where he gets pretty much kidnapped. A giant fucking suit of armor getting kidnapped. And he gets introduced to the homunculi himself, known as Greed, who is different. We've met 3 thus far. We've met envy, lust, and gluttony. We now meet Greed. Greed is kind of on his own. He's not really fucking with the rest of the group. He kind of like does whatever he wants to do. But he also introduces them to the concept of like, this is a chimera. And Alphonse is like, chimera? That shit that they turned the girl into die into? I ain't ever seen no chimera that actually walk, talk, but it was like, no, he perfected it. He was like, this is gang right here. And they want to know, essentially what they kind of like want is to become immortal. I think that's what all the homunculi, because they realize that essentially because his existence is, well, their theory is because Al's existence is bonded to a non-living object, that's the closest thing to immortality. So Greed is like, I'm truly not immortal, but if we got to, we'll take you apart and figure out how the fuck you did this. And what they want to do is essentially what eventually Al comes in. I mean, Ed comes in to try to save his thing, and he dispatches. He like beats up the Chimera and stuff like that, like hero shit, main character stuff. And Edward asks what greed is, because he's like, "Yo, you are not a homunculi. Like, you are. What are you? Like, you got skin that's super hard and all this other stuff like that." And they essentially, what greed wants is exchange of information. It's like, hey, you teach us how to body soul or bond our soul to an immortal thing, and we'll teach you how to take your soul and put it in a living thing, so your brother can have an able-bodied and be able to do all types of shit. And of course, Ed says no. He's like, "Fuck that! No, we're not agreeing to. We don't agree with terrorists. You know what I'm saying? We don't
negotiate with terrorists.
We don't negotiate with terrorists at all." And it's the fight, and it happens, and Ed is realizing he's in over his head because Greed is absolutely beating his ass, and he is not beating Greed's ass at all. But then Azumi shows up, and not only does Azumi show up at the end of the episode, we also see the appearance of someone else who's giving major villain vibes, which is none other than the Fiora, King Bradley.
We didn't talk about this last time, but I still feel salty that you didn't agree with my voice acting comment.
What do you mean?
When I told you that, I wish King Bradley sounded more country. Which sound like a cowboy.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it. King Bradley? It doesn't sound country to me.
Yeah. He looks it though. The mustache and everything, the patch.
He's King Bradley.
He should sound like a killer cowboy.
King Bradley shows up. There's big weird vibes because King Bradley be showing up in random places at random. He's
always there, huh? When the evil villain or the evil plot about to pop off,
and he wants to handle it himself. You don't want no help. You don't want no people giving him backup. He's like, listen, I'm here to handle business. He was like, they went to Central Command because we talk about
he kind of broke character though and broke face though with this battle.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
because he had that boy Alphonse ready to shit his suit.
It was a reveal that he's a homunculi himself.
I don't think that Alphonse saw the eye. He just saw what he did to Greed.
Right. Well, he saw what he did to Greed, and then saw what he did to the girl that was trying to live inside of him, which is nuts. Because there's no way I want a dead body, someone being stabbed, and it's too much to go through. But King Bradley's there. Goes up against Greed. He eventually subdues Greed and is able to take Greed. And he also
shout out to Major Armstrong too.
Kills everyone and stuff like that.
Major Armstrong went in there and got busy also.
He also got busy. Yes, this is true. All Might did his thing.
Yeah, All Might definitely did his thing. Him versus All Might, straight hands. Who's coming out on top?
All Might, for sure. All Might punches changes the weather. Like, it's not even close.
I don't know, man. Straight hands, no powers. Them is just boxing.
No powers? What do you mean?
They just boxing. They just throwing hands. No powers, just straight hands.
I don't know if All Might is. You talking about? You want skinny All Might to face this big?
No, not skinny All Might. Like, he could be in power.
That's what you asking for.
It's like he could be in power 4. He can't be over here using Detroit smashes. He just got to be in his power 4.
That's buff All Might. You apparently want Skeletor to go up against.
That would be whack. That would be so messed up. No, All Might wins, but it's just a funny thought.
Yeah,
it's just because they really give him the All Might interest on everything. It doesn't matter the situation or the scenario. He's getting the I am here.
Yeah, right, absolutely. And then also Al during this end of this fight with King Bradley, they're like, yo, King Bradley's around a lot. Like, and he killed this guy and didn't even ask him for any information, which is not what we're supposed to do. In fact, they told me not to do that in the first episode. So he's like, something's fishy. This is King Bradley guy. Anyway, King Bradley, he ends up meeting with his fellow homunculi, lust, gluttony, and envy. And says he's taking Greed as a prisoner, and essentially they dip him in like lava and extract his Philosopher's Stone. All this for the Philosopher's Stone. It's kind of weird.
Shout out to Greed. He died 10 toes down. He was like, "Fuck y'all."
Hey, listen, I've not mad at it at all. Not mad at it at all.
He was like, not fuck with any of you guys. We get the big reveal at the end of that episode too, don't we?
The big reveal that the shit. Talk about it. I forgot it.
Father? Who Father is?
Oh yeah. Father. Okay, yeah. Father's there. Father's there. The king of the homunculi. He's definitely there.
Shout out to single dads out there.
I agree. Shout out to you guys. Even the evil ones. But
yeah, shout out to even the evil single dads.
And then King Bradley returns to his family like nothing fucking happened. You're like, of course, son. I would do this all the time. I was just a little blood. Meanwhile, all of this is happening. Colonel Roy Mustang, he getting busy, but like busy on the ground. You know what I'm saying? He's got his transfer to Central City. He gets to take all his peoples with him, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's such a crazy. Shout out to them. They're eating too.
Yeah, easily. I
feel bad for Gene though. He had to give up his baddie. He's like, man, I'm just getting serious with this girl.
Scar is preparing for his next time. He got to like beat up people. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's see.
I like there's a big thing. I mean I think the expansion of the setting. That's always that's one thing about this show that I really like, because it also like it's
giving Pokemon to me.
Yeah, that too. But I think once again, another thing that Pokemon does really well that I was just about to bring up of how they're expanding the setting gives such a great feel of like adventure. And that like the fact that this is kind of like an adventure tale. They're going to all these different places. I think the biggest thing within these these next 10 episodes is the introduction of Jing and Alchemy and this desert that's separating these two countries going all away or nations from each other. Yeah, like obviously you're jumping around kind of city to city that they're in, but I like once again they have expanded the setting and expanded the world now so there's so many other different possibilities, and now even introduction of new characters. Ling, May, well, it was Fu, right? The other the two ninjas. I forgot what the girl's ninja name is. But yeah, like once again, like this expansion of this world that we're in, and also too now like understanding that like what they know as alchemy is completely different over there, and like their uses and kind of like the study of it. Yeah. So yeah, like I think that is like such a big thing within these like I said in these next or within these 10 episodes that I just really enjoyed is on yeah, this because it once again creates this just great sense of adventure of like, oh shit, like we're going places, we're seeing things. It's we're not set into one place and kind of kept it real, like kept the world tiny, which sometimes works, but the fact that they're expanding it out and each place holds a different different significance for the story as a whole too, which is great.
like you said, in so many words, we get introduced to Jing, who's also after the Philosopher's Stone. I believe he also wants to become immortal.
No, he wants to figure out more immortality because um back in his homeland, he's one of 15
Yep,
clans, or I think it's 15. I could be wrong.
it is
Someone
15.
is 15.
Mm-hmm.
One of 15 clans that have all these people under it. No, because of the one king that reproduces with all these clans. So essentially, finding immortality is going to be the reason why his clan gets elevated to the top. So they're all trying to present gifts, and he feels like this is the one that can um really just like help his family out. So
Yeah,
yeah, all these really fun uh kind of
yeah,
things happening here.
yeah. Ling from Jing, is
Link from Shank.
Ling Feng Jing. That's what I'm gonna say. Ling Feng Jing is he's a great. I mean, ultimately, what this next episode does is add a couple more characters to the story, and also continue to like it adds more viewpoints, right? Like ultimately, ultimately, we're all heading towards the same point. We're all going towards the same point. We're gonna uncover this mystery. Everyone wants to figure out stuff about alchemy. We're gonna figure out stuff regarding the Philosopher's Stone, and everyone wants to improve the lives of whatever they're representing or whatever they're fighting for. Except the evil people. Well, I guess evil people also want to improve their lives. Can't I don't want to discriminate, but we're all heading towards the same thing. But what this does is add a bunch of great characters. Like I love Ling. I think he's hilarious.
Oh,
And
he's
he
so funny. He's one of the best characters in this series for sure.
Yeah, he adds comedic relief to various situations where it's him and what's my man's name? Barry the Chopper, who adds a lot of comedic relief to these various situations that are going on. Um but at the end of the last thing, they're like, people are getting too close to our secret. We need to start throwing things in their way. That's coming from the homunculi. Um and eventually the they capture Barry the Chopper. They hold him in like this halfway house, essentially, with another agent. And they want to hold him there because they want to continue to get more information from him. Um, Eventually, the Elrics show up to Central because they're looking for Hughes, but it's Armstrong. I think they encounter no, they didn't encounter Armstrong. Roy Mustang encounters Armstrong and essentially says, like, did you tell him about the Hughes thing? And it was like, no, we're going to keep it from him from now. But they eventually find out. They get
Yeah,
to,
because they got caught up in the back-to-back lies. He told them that boy Hughes got transferred, and then they see Lieutenant
Ross.
Ross right after, and she was
Mhm.
like, nigga, transfer where? You got transferred, all right.
Transferred to the big department in the sky. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, that's crazy. Like, no one told us. That's nuts. So they eventually reach the family. Winry is going to go visit his family. They all kind of gotta figure out this and kind of like deal with it all over themselves, over the loss of Hughes. And this is the first time. And people were scared to tell Edward because he's essentially like, he's going to use this as his like, for vengeance and get himself in more trouble and potentially be detrimental to himself and his brother's journey and our own, to be honest, our own work. So he's going to stand in the way of his own self. And yeah, it's a very emotional episode. But also we see various things going on. We see there's a homunculi who's posing as a member of the thing. This black guy, I was like, damn, you had to pose as a black guy. It's blackface, brother. um and so much more. um the following episode At the end of the episode, they're like, Lieutenant Ross, can you surrender your gun here? You are under suspicion for killing Lieutenant Hughes. And she's like, what the are you talking about? I love a
Yeah,
good, like,
they had to find a scapegoat.
essentially, they sprinkled crack on her, essentially, as one
They
Chappelle would
definitely
say.
did.
Um, I love this entire arc kind of thing. I love one. I'm a sucker for a good rescue arc. I love it. Except Bleach, which was fucking way too long. I thought Bleach was long as fuck with that rescue arc. I was like, goddamn.
Because it's just like
everyone had to get
there's
a fight
like
in.
no. I was
Everyone
like,
had to get
no,
like an 8-episode fight in.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way the unions are running into this many.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it because there's like 6 of them and they're infiltrating a thing. But it's like, bro, we had to stop everywhere. Like there are this many obstacles. Like these are this many episodes to be able.
That's
to
one of those times where it's just like, you ever play video games with someone and they're like one of the ones that are like, no, you gotta open every door. Like,
yeah,
you gotta, like
I mean, I do that
like,
in Pokemon, except they stop putting stuff in houses now in Pokemon games.
Yeah, but that's how that arc was. It was one of those like, we gotta open every door. I'm like, do you have to really? Like,
right, but Lieutenant Ross, she's being interrogated. Essentially, they were in her office. She has been framed for this incident. For essentially firing the same bullet that she fired at the Laboratory 5 is the same bullet they found with Hughes, and they're trying to be this whole thing, and Barry the Chopper is like, wait, she tried to kill me, she's absolutely not guilty. Not that Colonel Mustang actually thinks that she's guilty at all. But it prompts this entire
this back half is definitely the I mean, I'll say these last 10 episodes in general are kind of a Mustang showcase.
It is. I think this is pretty much like
this is the build up of Mustang.
Essentially, I think his own plot, his own scheme, and how he resolves all of it himself. Essentially, they go to the prison, the central prison. Barry the Chopper shows up. They free Lieutenant Ross. He was like, listen, you're either going to die now or you're going to run away. And she's like, I'm running. So she runs. She gets out of there. They come across the Elric brothers. They come across a lot of other people. She eventually encounters Colonel Mustang. And it's implied that he kills her using his flame alchemy. And the Elric's like, what are you doing? That was Lieutenant Ross. And he's like, I gotta do my job. I'm a cop.
The order was shoot to kill.
Right. Something along those lines. It's like, but how could you fry her like a fucking deep fry her, like air fry her? Like, could you do that? Go ahead. What were your thoughts during this moment? Did you feel like she was really dead?
No.
Even when you were a kid watching this for the first time?
When watching it for the first time, no. Just because, like, she's too... that Mustang's an ass, right? But he ain't gonna ever go that far. Like, right. So to me, I'm like, there was a scheme. There was something there.
He's not cold like that.
Yeah, he's not cold like that. He's not gonna, like... The reason why I fuck with Mustang is because he has I believe that he has like a good heart, and he's really like, no, I'm trying to, I'm really trying to rise to office to do really good things. But also he understands too that to get there, he kind of has to do some asshole things. But he never crosses the line too much. Like he tries to be as morally sound as possible. I wouldn't say by the book because I don't think he like follows the rules like that, but he's more just morally sound than anything. Like he could justify his choices by the fact that he's like, this is the right thing to do.
Shout out to the doctor for being in on it too.
Yeah, shout out to the doctor.
Doctor's like, this is Lieutenant Ross. I know. I checked her teeth records, all the other stuff is definitely her. And it's like, damn, that's a real one. Shout out to Doc.
Backbones of America, the pharmaceutical industry. But yeah, no, so I knew that something was up. I knew she wasn't dead, but I was like, okay, what? I didn't know what her bigger part was in this scheme. Like I didn't know if they were gonna, but to see,
because she's not really like a major character, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, she's a good side character.
Yeah,
And was a good side character.
And not even like Hawkeye to Mustang. She's like,
yeah, no.
She's just another, just a good, I don't know. She's part of the team, obviously. But she definitely, I don't know. I felt like this was a role that I was like, wow, she's getting a real role in this. It's kind of like Flock in Attack on Titan. It's like, wow, this actually lasted more than one episode.
But yeah, so I like this moment. Once again, like how I said in the beginning of the episode of wasn't even beginning, was it our just conversation before this of they do a really good job at the end of these arcs tying up the loose ends. Like even her whole story is just like, okay, we've seen it all play out. Like it's not like this big cliffhanging hit mystery or this thing of you don't really or you figure out she's alive, but you don't know what like role or part she's gonna play. Like they
Right.
completed her story. You figure out that it was a full elaborate setup for her to get out. They meet Xerxes,
Roy Mustang, and everybody who they thought, because he had given Hawkeye leave, and she seemed very, very mad about it, and he was just on the phone like, yeah, I might take a leave of my own shit, man.
I'm about to go chill and hang out and get that. No, but he was very elaborate in his scheme. Once again, I enjoy how meticulous he is. It's not like he be leaving room or opportunity for him to fuck up.
Right. Well, this is because he realizes, and I think a lot of people realizes that Elric is starting to realize that everybody realizes that there's something wrong with the government in this. There's something very corrupt about it. And it's not like over abusing of power, but it's just like something isn't right. And he's doing his best to get to that thing. And as he's getting closer, it's similar to Hughes. And the only reason why he isn't killed is because they don't want to kill him. They want to sacrifice him. But as he's getting closer, he's realizing there's these things that's happening in his way, essentially. Like, and one of them is getting Ross out of the way. And, a lot of situations are kind of occurring, and he's doing his best. He's realizing all of this is happening, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to do my best to kind of get in the way of all of this, but I'm going to do it within the confines of the rules, because there's so much going on. There's so much that I could lose doing this, but I'm going to do it all in the confines of this thing. So they eventually reached that halfway point in the desert. Ed is taken by Armstrong to this part in the desert, and they show that she's alive, and everyone's like, oh my god, yes. And it's like, take her to Shing, and now she's on her way to Shing. There is another part. Well, the action starts to kind of like really heat up now, because the homunculi are like, something ain't right.
You can't pass up the big reveal in Xerxes too.
Xerxes? Go off, because I'm like, I should have taken notes.
Essentially, Ed is out there. He was the only one brought. They didn't bring Alphonse. He goes out there, but they are in the ruins, and he sees the ruins, and he sees the huge, like, half of the transmutation circle. He's like, man, this reminds me of the transmutation circle that was in the Fifth Ward, where they were doing all the soul transmutations there, or working on the philosopher's stone there. And that's when the Ishlavans, one of them attacked him, and then they all came out in the gang together. He meets the elder, and she brings up the Rock Bells, Winry's parents, and we figured out that Scar is the one that killed Winry's parents, but she was but her parents were actually being doctors out there, like really helping out the Ishlavans and whatnot.
But she doesn't know this yet, and we don't.
She does not know this yet.
We don't know this until like much later on down the fact.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't figure out, but Ed figures out that moment.
Right. But doesn't tell her.
There's something about someone dying and them not telling them.
Hey man, listen, this is full of secrets in this fucking show. With that said,
Then we move on to the action. The homunculi pull up.
Fuck. I'm trying to figure out where it actually begins. There's so much that happened in this damn thing. Back at Central Command, the Mustang unit prepares for the next stage of the operations as Barry's human body attacks Falman's apartment. And then it then it gets like real Bad Boys 2 on this. They head out the building
because they had an inkling, because that's the reason why they had Hawkeye set up in that sniper position.
Right. So they're saved. Eventually, puts a bullet in the human body, and it's saved by Lieutenant Hawkeye, who's on the phone. But then behind Lieutenant Hawkeye, they end up seeing it's none other than Gluttony, who is just like,
I'm gonna hate you,
essentially. So she shows up, Gluttony shows up, and then the other dude shows up. I forgot his name.
Hey, I forgot his name too, but shout out to him and his dog.
Yeah, shout out to him. They show up, they try to like bring him off. I don't know how Roy Mustang got there so fucking fast. I don't know where this is located. I don't know where he did, but he eventually...
Yeah, I didn't know what the proximity was, but he was there for sure.
He showed up. He's like, oh, yeah, go on the phone. So he eventually left his post and was able to do all of that other stuff like that.
Him and Hawkeye get into it real quick. She's like, why'd you do this?
Yeah, something along those lines. But hey, what are you gonna do? We save lives over here. They head over to Central Alchemy Laboratory number 3, where Roy declares that the lab's very involvement already implicates members of the military command in the ongoing conspiracy, and orders a retreat as they already have what they need. However, Chopper has other plans, and he's storming in after his body. And boy, it leads to a whole bunch of everything. As they go within it, they see Lust, who I guess was on a date with Jean at some point.
Yeah, she's what was her name? What do you call her? Her alias?
I forget. Hold on, let me see.
Sorry with an S. That's all I remember. But essentially, she was playing my man Jean.
What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, listen.
Who of us have not dated Homunculi? You know what I'm saying?
Come on, what? What?
But eventually, I mean, it gets into this big scuffle, but she ends up pretty much putting a hole in everybody. And
rest in peace.
Right.
Rest in peace to my boy Havoc.
So, we get into this white room where they chase. There's a lot of things there's a lot that goes on.
Essentially, they because Barry runs into that room where they have that large, whatever that thing is,
and Hawkeye and all this other
stuff. Yeah. And after Lust done stabby Havoc and Mustang, she pulls up in that room and tells Hawkeye, like, yeah, Mustang already killed that guy. And the Hawkeye kind of gets, she's like skipping, about to empty the clip on her, and Alphonse got to play his you gotta live.
Right. He uses his alchemy to try to shield him as much as he can. He tries to step in the way. Barry gets gone. He gets chopped up into sheet metal. But eventually, before it seems like all is about to go awry, Roy Mustang appears once again. He has closed the wounds by cauterizing it. It's a big endeavor kind of move. And they were like, you can't just kill me. And he was like, okay, we're gonna kill you. So with the what's it called? Not a match. With the lighter from, was it Havoc? Yeah,
it was Havoc's lighter.
Havoc's lighter.
And he etched the down circle in his hand too,
and lights her the fuck up. And it's one of the most it's not the most satisfying moment, but it's one of the most satisfying moments where he continues to you know,
just set her on fire and set her on fire.
Set her on fire. What Future song is playing during this? I'm trying to figure it out. Let's see.
Oh, I was thinking of what is it? The On Fire Tonight skit on Cameron's album.
I feel like, hold on, let me see. I'm trying to find it. It's definitely something on. Trying to think. Maybe. Well, there we go. So that's playing as he's lining her up. Throwaway by Future.
Nice.
And eventually he essentially disintegrates and deteriorates and burns her body into nothing, including the Philosopher's Stone, which also gets broken down. It's a satisfying ending.
Shout out to the fan servicey titties moment. I forgot all about that. Shout out to it.
Oh my god.
It's very rare in this series. So when it happens, it's really funny.
As Lust dies, she compliments the Colonel's focus and determination, but remarks that his straightforward eyes will soon grow cloudy with despair. Mustang collapses in exhaustion and thanks Al for protecting Hawkeye, for requesting an ambulance be summoned for Havoc and himself. In the entranceway, Bradley watches the scene, but quietly sheathes his sword and walks away. Listen, he's everywhere. He is everywhere. Wrath is everywhere.
You don't think he's there. Yeah, son. Even when you don't think.
Final episode of our rewatch part. It's called Father Before the Grave. Van Hohenheim.
Big Ho.
Big Ho.
The Big Ho, man.
The Big Ho. We see that Edward and Al, he eventually shows up at their mother's grave, and he's furious with her because this is anime we're talking about. We hate fathers. They're no good. They don't have any explanations for why they leave. In fact, it's the most selfish explanation of why they leave. But they're doing it for the good. But still, they have ruined their kids' lives and have sent their kids to become shonen protagonists because of it.
Yeah. I can't wait to do that for my kid.
Ed is like, why did he, Van, Big Ho is essentially like, why did you burn down the house? And he's like, because I wanted to forget everything and I wanted to stay strong in the journey that he had. To which Hohenheim says, you didn't do that. You did that because you didn't want to leave a trace of anything that you did. And you know what you did. And he hates him more because of it. He's like, oh, you fucking bastard. I hate you so much.
And he said, you didn't even collect the insurance money on the house. You make an insurance claim on it.
He's going through some things. We see, let's see.
I think one of the big things here is obviously we learned that what we thought was their mother really wasn't their mom at all.
And it gives a sense of relief, which to me, it was hard for me to like put two and two together, because
the explanation I still gotta dissect the explanation of like what it really was.
It's essentially like they didn't kill his mother twice. What the implication was that them bringing her back, they brought the body back, and she had to die all over again, in whatever the monstrosity that was there. So they brought the body back, and he killed his mother. That's what he thought it was. But he realizes that wasn't his mother's body. So his mother's body is still out there. And if that's the case, Alphonse's body is still out there. So they can revive him using the body still. So the body isn't completely wasted. It isn't completely gone. It took me a while to figure it out because I was like, what is the fuck is he talking? Like, I don't get what. I get that it's not the body, but why would this be a good thing? But it's like essentially like he didn't kill him again. And he calls Izumi and he explains like, "Did you check the body?" And she gets a sense of relief because it's not the same body as her child, and she knows that the journey isn't necessarily over, and they remain more more strong doing it. But Al has this essentially, he has this moment where he realizes that because of all the explanations that he had over this course of the last 10 episodes, that his body, because his body isn't because he's not in his original body, his body is going to break down at some point. Like he's eventually going to um conk out and will not be able
Yeah.
to return to his body. So they got to make sure to do what they got to do um to make it there. And they're like, listen, we're gonna make this thing happen. We're gonna make it he's not completely immortal, but we're gonna make this thing happen. And the episode ends with Elric, kind of like the Elric's renewed and they're focused. And Benry is like, was his shoulders always so broad? It's like, all right, relax. Like, relax. Relax. Um
He's been doing his pull ups. Real chill on my man.
was he's getting a little taller, isn't he? And that's where we're ending on this recap right here. It's a lot to go through. This is a lot. And it's interesting because I was talking about arcs. This story doesn't really have a very defined like arc thing. We go from journey to journey. There are definitely like little parts where things take place in a certain city, and a couple episodes are about the same thing. But it's really just this big flowing story.
It's an adventure, you
Yeah,
know. It's like this flowing adventure is just
to
like you
uncover
said, the more
secrets.
yeah, and it's like the more secrets you uncover, the more secrets you end up finding, and you got to
And,
uncover
and the more
those until you
dangerous
get
it
to the
actually
truth.
gets. Yeah, the more dangerous it gets.
And I
Um,
mean, I think even from the beginning of the series, that's been like the main theme and something that was said a lot throughout characters of just like, man, there's just, like of this truth within the truth, you know, like
right.
nothing is always what it seems, and that's what you're starting to figure out of even there within these episodes we watch of like Greed telling them like whatever you know about this world, you don't really know. Like the impossible is impossible, and you just got to figure out how to make it possible, or figure out the things that make that thing possible. So, um, yeah, it's when we were talking about this before, you said it was it was hard making notes because things are very straightforward,
Hmm.
which kind of makes this story which I feel is like really adds to the story because although you're once again we're going through this adventure, we're figuring out these things, plot twists and whatnot.
Right.
um they don't go veer off so far course where you're kind of like now stuck where you're like, well, what the fuck does that really even mean? Like things in here have real true significant meanings, and they play into the overall role of the story. um and as you go along like with it, they do a good job of like knowing when to be like, okay, this thing has ran its course, let's tie it up, but like let's
Hmm.
tie it up in a way where it ties into whatever new or whatever we're trying to introduce. Like I said, the moment in Xerxes of you kind of get this ending of Lieutenant Ross's story and her finish, but within that same moment, you're getting a whole new Pandora's box open, figuring out that Scar was the one that killed Winry's parents. So they have this great in their storytelling of making moments feel like really full in terms of there is a lot happening and there's like closure happening, but
Hmm.
also there is a new door opening at the same time. So it just continues to like move the story in this progress forward of like, okay, and I think the fact that they lay it out though in a way where it's like, okay, this is very just like what it is.
Hmm.
It just helps go along so much smoother and easier.
Every episode is teaching us new things that we haven't explored, or the adventure keeps getting, as they go deeper and deeper, like we learn if things get a lot more dangerous, and as people are getting more closer to the truth, they end up having to go against these things that are stopping them from learning the truth. But we're getting there. We're 20 episodes into this arc. We're a third of the way through the series. Next episode, we will be going through the next 10 episodes, which is going to include the return of Scar. It's going to include a battle against a very tough homunculus. And it's going to include some backstory that may or may not be comfortable for a lot of people. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the Lookout. Follow the Lookout on RNC Radio, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and the Lookout on RNC on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. And if you're enjoying this, enjoy it with us. I promise next week we'll have better notes. I'll tell you that. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.